Hello everyone, this is Renato Fox from Ashes of Korriban, and you're listening to the Escape Podcast. This show was recorded in front of a live Twitch audience. Did you know, by the way, why Germans build such high-quality products? They don't need to have to go around and being nice while they fix them. Take it away, boys.
One is a Grand Arena specialist from the UK. The other is a territory battle tactician from the US. Together, there are no signs of intelligent life on board. With both having played this game since launch, the one thing we are sure of is that you will be entertained. The Escape Pod Cast, a service of the Escape Pod Castaways. A weekly podcast about the mobile game Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Live from the network studios of Yavin 4, here are your hosts, Neil Andrew Eyre and Paul Anthony.
Coming up on this week's very special edition of the Escape Pod Cast.
August 26th, a day that will live in infamy.
The character reworks and the GL counter nerfs landed on this day.
We look back fondly on Dark Trooper punching C in the face.
And the ability to fracture Rey.
Story time with Uncle Thad brings us a look at Maul's kit.
But we also have a very special two-part interview, Neil, live.
Yes, SB Crumb will join us to answer questions from us and the community.
We will also see what he thinks about quality of life features that only a few of us want, quote unquote, from our Discord.
And we will look back on the puzzles he has done so far as we await the next one.
There's no safety net, folks. This is a live interview.
The latest heli and the new.
And, of course, Patreon's choice on the bridge.
And we are the breaking news as if it happens right now.
Right here on the Escape Pod Cast.
The Escape Pod Cast News.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Escape Pod Cast. I'm your host, the Nev, and as always, I'm joined by my hetero-life partner, Paul Anthony. Paul, how are you today?
It has been a week from hell at work, but I am absolutely happy and excited to be here on this episode. Neil, this is going to be a good one. We're starting 30 minutes early because it's so damn jam-packed full of stuff.
Yeah, big, huge week. Absolutely massive week in the game. I can't remember a week this big since, oh God, it's been forever. I can't remember
Since
the last
divisions were changed?
No, God, wait. But before then, that was something that was good, that was positive, that everybody was happy with. I'm talking about changes that, make fundamental differences to the game. And I'm trying to think back, and it's been that long since we've had one. I cannot think of one. I cannot think of a period in the game where this much has happened in the space of a week. I really, really can't.
Plasma, you have been around long enough that I have no problem in wishing you a happy birthday this Sunday. So,
yes, happy birthday, Plasma.
Happy birthday. So, Neil, there's good and there's bad to this. Gas got a buff. He's beating the heck out of JKL. But in the words of CG, they want the character to be worth the investment. Which one do you think is a bigger investment?
What, Gas
Jedi
or
Knight Luke?
Gas or
Or
right.
Gas?
I thought you said JKR for a second. Then I was like,
no, JKL.
JKL. Here's the thing. I would argue that you need to invest in both. But which one you go for first depends on which GL you're planning on going for. Because you need JKL if you want JML. If you want JML, then JKL is an absolute requirement. And Relic 7, maxed out, well modded, he is still going to do an awful lot of damage. Yes, excuse me, yes. there are a lot of gases taking out JKLs at the moment. My response to that is there really? I have never been dumb enough to put him on defense. He's too good a utility player on offense. Squad arena, different kettle of fish. But yeah, gas is going to be, gas is needed for other GLs. So depending on which one you go for, because they may not have the same defensive properties, but they've both got the same offensive properties from a beneficial point of view. So I would simply go for whichever one first that you want to go for the GL, and that is the way that I would look at it.
Dr. Feelgood, by the way, has donated 2 subs, and Geek Girl has cheered 1,000 bits. Thank you guys for the support of this channel. We appreciate you. It's Neil. I'm not too happy myself about it.
What you're not happy about?
I think that JKL, Jedi Knight Luke, has has a larger investment. You got gas just recently. Where was everybody at?
What do you mean?
You had everybody at Relic 1?
Oh no, I took 8 characters to Relic 3 in order to get gas. So it was I took 4 of the characters for tier 2 and 4 of the characters for tier 4 to Relic 3. I didn't really have to do much for 1 and 3. It was 2 and 4. So in order to get my gas, I needed to hit. I didn't need to. I chose to take 8 characters to Relic 3 in order to achieve what I wanted to achieve for the gas. Because going for JKL already had a bunch of characters at Relic that needed to be Relicked. So yeah. And
I swear that Bodhi had sent me the little. There was an Excel screenshot of the things that you needed in order to get certain characters, and
what do you mean? What certain characters?
Well, the GLs, Jedi Knight Luke, Malik, Gas.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. No, I've got that in front of me if you want me to read it off. Ray, you want me to read them off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Ray requires 2 Relic 3s, 7 Relic 5s, 3 Relic 7s. Total characters 12, total relics 62. Slacker requires 3 Relic 3s, 6 Relic 5s, but the same as Ray, 3 Relic 7s. But the total relic cost actually went down with Slacker. It's only 60. Then JML was 3 of 3 tier 3, 6 of tier 5, 2 tier 6s, 3 tier 6, 7 relic 7s, and total characters 14, total relics 72. C, 4 3s, 2 4s, 1 5, 2 6s, 5 7s, total characters and total relics 14 and 72 respectively. And then obviously, the last one that we had, General Kenobi, I said General Jedi Master Kenobi, 3 Relic 3s, 5 Relic 5s, 4 Relic 7s, 2 Relic 8s. Total characters required 14, total relics required 78. And now we have Lord Vader. And
we have Lord Vader with the announcement. Really quick, we'll mention what the third and final set is. It's the BLT, the Sandwich Y-Wing, at 7 stars, which wasn't that also needed for somebody else? So is that the second crossover? Then Grand Moff Tarkin at 7, Relic 7, ARC Trooper and General Skywalker at Relic 8, and Newt Gunray at Relic 7. And, Solo and Zareth like to call Newt Gunray at High Relics GL Luke or GL Newt. And I don't blame him. He's good at High Relic. So Tarkin, maybe that's the dud of the bunch. But everything else, not a bad haul.
Yeah, it's
But go ahead and
it's still there. No relic 3s, no relic 4s, 6 relic 5s, 4 relic 7s. Here's the biggie: 4 relic 8s. Total characters required 14. Total relic levels required 90. 90. That is
plus your gas. What you need, the extra 9 that you have to get for gas.
Yes. So you are. I mean, you are talking. You are talking 60%, 60 to 70% more relic levels required for Lord Vader than for Rey or Slacker. And all GLs are supposed to be equal. They're all supposed to be able to beat each other. Would you pay, in resources, 70% more for a galactic legend that is supposed to do the exact same thing as a Rey or a Slacker? Don't know if I would. Don't know if I would. But that is, that is an expensive requirement for a GL. You know, power creep coming in already, maybe. Who knows? Okay, so what else are we talking about?
Well, we did have a hype train that got fired off because Plasma gifted out a sub. Hellenix cheered 100 bits. Dr. Feelgood gave out more subs. So we had. Thank you very much for once again supporting the show.
Excellent.
So we're not going to dive too much into Maul, but let's touch on what we think about the kit, because Thaddeus is going to talk about the kit and how it was inspired and things like that coming up in story time. But here we have. What did you think when you first saw the kit? Is this something that you actually want, or are you going to be skipping this one?
Oh, no. I'll be going for this one. I'll be going for this one.
Are you going to ditch Cat?
Are
you going to be like, Cat. Forget Cat?
No. I'm not going to ditch Cat. I'm still going to get Cat. I want Cat for my Padme team. I want Cat for my Padme team. There's no two way about that. And I want Maul for my Mandalorian team, because I am going to make. I'm going to probably do him quite high. Leave my Mandalorians at a probably at a bare minimum, probably around gear 11 and 12, and just see how much damage a Maul-led team, because it'll have Bo in it. It'll have Bo-Katan. It'll have the armor in it. I will probably end up putting the two Mandalorians from the Rebels era, because they are
Gar Saxon and Imperial Super Commando.
Yeah, Super Commando and Gar Saxon. Yeah, I will probably be taking them to 11 and 12, because they've got a ship. So and they are a very, very important cog in the Empire fleet team that I use on defense. So I won't have any issues whatsoever. So I will placeholder every single one of those characters, every single one of those Mandos at 11 and 12. I will put Maul as the leader for that team, and I will sit back and I will enjoy it, because I've already got the other 4. So getting him and maxing him out, it's not going to be any different to the way that I've been doing a lot of my other teams.
So he has a self-inflicted DOT, but it also gives him offense that turn until the end of the turn. What happens if he has Anguish and a dot? Which one fires off first? Is the dot going to take effect first and then Anguish? Because if it's the other way around, he can be defeated by damage over time.
Well, that's just it. I don't think he can be taken. I don't think he will be able to be taken out with damage over time. It's going to be one of those. That's going to be like his special thing. Like, like Ahsoka has, an insta-kill. Commander Tano has an insta-kill. And Maul's going to have this ability to come from Seething Rage. So, you don't want to be using Vader on him because it's just going to charge him up more and more and more. So it's kind of like it's a very difficult way to describe it. But I do believe that something like that is going to just make him go absolutely bonkers. So counters against him are going to be limited. Anything that drops DOTs on him could get used as stacks of anguish, potentially, if it has the same.
Well, no. He doesn't put his own damage over time on him. He inflicts himself with anguish.
Mm-hmm.
So, because of that, you can have damage over time and anguish at the same time on Maul. He's not going to get anything for anything that he's taking damage over time, but which one fires first is the big question as far as the damage.
We're not going to know. We'll just have to wait and see how he fares. I'm looking forward to seeing him in action. I must admit, I am very much looking forward to seeing him in action. But whether he's good or not, whether he's brilliant or whether he's just good, to be honest with you, I'm probably going to end up using him anyway because I've got 4 Mandalorians with no home. I literally have, I'm not going to put the Empire ones on an Empire squad because there are better Empire tunes to put on. And I've got nothing out of Bo except the fact that she's a requirement for Jedi Master Kenobi. And the only times I've used the Armorer is with Treya against a 5-man trio. Sorry, against a 5-man Geo team to make Nihilus a little bit better, and put the buff onto Scion, and using the armor in conjunction with JKL against a Slacker. We know that's no longer possible. So I literally have 4 homeless Mandalorians, and they will find a home under the leadership of Mandalore, and they will live by his rule. And, this is the way.
The Escape Pod Cast with Paul Anthony and Neil Andrew Ware.
HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with additional features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or Territory Wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod Cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Podawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including access to Shitty Bill's Arena Tracking Bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I approve this message and am compensated for signups for this service.
The world's largest audiobook library is at your fingertips, and the Escape Pod Castaways want you to try it for free. Head on over to escapepodcastaways.com and click the Going Nerdy offer button to claim a free audiobook and 2 Audible originals. Cancel anytime, and it's absolutely free to sign up. Check out Audible and support the Escape Pod Castaways. All for free. See Audible website for details. Restrictions may apply.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Diggy Darkside from the Howling Ewoks. Are you tired of being cooped up at home? Have you considering moving to the moons of Endor? We have many great huts available. We are a 360 million GP guild, 32 stars in Darkside Territory Battle, 26 stars in Lightside with 35 cam shards. Yes, come get your cam shards. We have plenty of huts available. Remember, when you live in the trees, you always have the high ground. We have stormtroopers on the spit nightly. So if you're 6.5 million GP or above, have 2 GLs or more, and are ready to get your cam shards, contact me, Dickie Darkside, number 4469 on Discord. The Howling Ewoks, where the dark side is awesome, but evil sucks.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Patreon leaderboard, brought to you by our Kyber combatant level or higher Patreons. Want to support the show in a very special way where we can also feature you during the Escape Podcast and GA Center? Head on over to patreon.com/theescapepod, no cast, to sign up. This is an offshoot of GA Center, hosted after every attack week on the Escape Podcast Twitch channel by Nevin Ranger. Let's get to the numbers, because if you're seeing or hearing this on the Escape Podcast, you know we have a very special interview coming up in just a moment. Big Country Mags goes 3-0, 79-53 for his banners, 39 wins, 2 losses, 6 holds. Not bad for BCM. D goes 2-1, 6-0-1-4 on banners, 60-14, 20 wins, 1 loss, 4 holds. Better, much better from him. Normally, he doesn't attack. Dark Helmet, 2-1, 86-16. Huge banners from Dark Helmet. 42 wins, 3 losses, 6 holds. Dr. JoJo, 3-0, as usual. 9,438 banners. 48 wins, 0 losses, 10 holds. That is a Triple Crown. His report is boring week for the Triple Crown. Round 1 opponent, really weird roster, put crap on defense and attacked only 1 team and called it quits. Sounds like me earlier. Round 2, opponent got stuck on my slacker on front bottom. And round 3, tried my slacker once and never attacked again. Yeah, Dr. JoJo, that certainly is a boring week. Force Strong goes 2-1. A lot of 2-1s. I think everybody did. That if they didn't go 3-0. 5,339 banners, 22 wins, 1 loss, 10 holds. Hot Sauce, who's not a streamer, but he's a Patreon. Thank you, Hot Sauce. He goes 2-1 with the biggest banners of the week. 97-46, 51 up, 10 down, 5 holds. Schnarman didn't join. Paul Anthony, me. I went 2-1, 7,004 banners, 30 wins, 4 losses, 9 holds. That last round was a doozy. Really, really fun to play against that guy. All right, the final standings for the second week. Dr. JoJo and BCM, both still at 6-0. One of them falters. They will not be able to catch up if the other person runs the table. But everybody else, 4-2. So, it looks like a race between Dr. JoJo and BCM to who can not drop the ball. I am at 3-3, holding the Mendoza line, and Schnarman 0-6. Sign up at the Patreon, Kyber combatant level or higher, and we can include you guys in this. We would love to see you. Please consider supporting the show in that way. It makes a huge difference. Coming up, the rest of the show, the interview, 2-parter, or more GA Center. We'll see you guys next time. Be nice to each other, damn it.
We want you. Join the GAC Chain Gang today. This is the commander of the 506 Procrastination Battalion and the leader of the GAC Chain Gang. I am sending out a call to action for any SWGOH content creators on Twitch who would be willing to broadcast their GAC attack rounds alongside some of our best, including Mr. Jigabachi, Dr. Zeppers, Rico 1982, and the Bounty Honeys. What is the Chain Gang, you ask? We are an amazing group of content creators who are dedicated on streaming the Grand Arena Championship attack rounds on Twitch. The idea is to provide continuous content back-to-back from one streamer to the next and allow the viewers to enjoy more SWGOH content, as well as enjoy the variety of streamers that are currently present in the group. If you are interested in joining the Chain Gang, please reach out to myself on Discord at AndyBeads, #7465, or you can send us a message on our Twitter page at ChainGAC. Join us today. We have your back.
The Escape Pod Cast.
And welcome back, folks. We're on the backup generator, so the ship is still flying. Okay, we are still flying. You can see us. We're sat in the cockpit. You know, it did stall. We were dead, stranded in space, floating off towards the sun, and I fired up the backup. The backup generator is running. We are good to go.
It got hit by 2 ion blasts.
Yes, it got. we got hit by an ion blast. There was a secondary explosion, and had to switch to the backup generator. But everything is going now. We are back, traveling at sublight speed. We are A-okay.
All right. So, we were going to talk about Conquest 7. Let's dive into the Conquest 7 that was posted by the guest we'll have in just under 30 minutes, Crumb. Hi, Hero Table Hollows. Conquest 7 begins August 30th and brings a thoroughly refreshed experience to the Hollow Tables. Next week, you'll find new bosses, data discs, consumables, feats, and a fresh new reward unit mall, which we talked about a little bit. There'll be many topics to cover, so let's dive in. So, in Crumb then talked about goals. They wanted to refresh the entire Conquest experience, and they used essentially the first 6 months that we played Conquest. You know, we had our hiccups. You know, we're going to have our hiccups, and they've started to iron it out. So now, Neil, we have mini bosses halfway through, and we've got the big boss at the end.
I thought you were just going to read the goals.
I'm going to jump around here because, you know,
okay.
I have the list of mini bosses, and unfortunately I closed that tab when we were having the technical difficulties. But I'm okay with the mini bosses. What are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about the question I'm going to ask Crumb when he comes on, so I'll leave my opinion until he comes on for the show. But yeah, there's nothing wrong with changing it. There's nothing wrong with refreshing things. There's nothing wrong with tweaking things here and there. They did say, even after they rolled out the first one, you know, that they were going to be monitoring for feedback on, you know, what they could do to the, do to it. I'm not so sure how many of these changes were due to feedback, because a lot of the things that they're talking about incorporating into Conquest aren't things I recall hearing in discussions or conversations with other community members as things they wanted in Conquest. Now, as far as I was concerned, Conquest was set. They made some tweaks after the first couple of ones. They changed the way that energy was going to be consumed. They changed the rotated data discs, which I actually thought was a great idea, because that changing the data discs 100% stops the mode from going stale. because there is no one fixed way that you can do each conquest every single time it comes out. And I like the fact that it's different. I like that they were changing the bosses, but throwing in mini bosses, we'll see. You know, we literally, you know, we shall see. And when it comes to the big bosses, because obviously we've had character tweaks regarding GLs. We'll see how those affect Conquest, because we don't know if it's going to affect PvP modes as much as E modes. So we don't know how much is going to change there. But the changes to one of the big changes to Conquest that I'm looking at, that I think is a very, very regressive move from CG, is the feats, the faction feats, changing up the feats, bringing in new ones, getting rid of old ones, a bit like the data discs. I think something like that is great, and it's an excellent way to keep the mode feeling fresh every single time it comes out. It's not stale. It's different.
Right.
It's unique. But one of the great things, and one of the things that CG touted regarding Conquest, was it was the first true mode where you got to use all your roster. It gave the players complete agency over their rosters. So here's a bunch of feats, and you can use any characters, any faction to complete these feats in order to get points, to get cases, to get trunks, to get prize boxes. And progress through that 2-week period. That was a brilliant key selling point, and it does make it a very, very good game mode. I'll be hesitant to say excellent. It's a good, solid game mode because it's not always fun and exciting because of that RNG regarding feats and regarding data discs. Sometimes you hit the pay dirt with your RNG and you get great data discs, and the feats are ones that you know that you can do, so it's fun. When you don't get the data discs and when you don't have various different characters to do various different feats, it wasn't so much fun. It was a bit more grinding. So that's a great way that they've been keeping it fresh. But regarding I do have a question that I will be posing to Crumb when we get him on regarding the certain elements of the refresh that they are implementing in Conquest that starts on the 30th.
Well, I have the list of who it's going to be, if you will. In Sector 1, the mini boss is Padme, and the big boss is Qui-Gon Jinn.
Interesting.
Sector 2, the mini boss is Grievous, and the big boss is Mother Talzin. Sector 3, the mini boss is Bo-Katan, and the big boss is going to be Darth Sidious, with 6 people on their team.
Mm-hmm.
Let me check 2. I didn't see if... Okay, so it's still just 5 on there and 5 on there. But yeah, in Sector 3, you've got to go through Sidious, Dooku, the OG Sith Trooper, Vader, Lobster, and OG Maul.
Mm-hmm. And I would probably say that the normal mode people are going to have a whale of a time. I think the people doing normal mode are going to have an absolute whale of a time. I think that they're going to be able to blitz through each of these sectors. They're going to be able to sweep aside all of those bosses. The big question will be getting the feats themselves. That's the kicker, because what I tend to... I mean, this might not be for what what everybody does, but what I tend to do is I spend the first week trying to get through the sectors, and then I spend the second week going back through the sectors and figuring out what teams and what characters I need to use in order to complete the feats and get more banners and get better rewards. With bosses like that, it shouldn't be too difficult to be able to blitz the sectors themselves, because some of those characters aren't particularly strong. And
well, remember, energy, this is where the difference comes in. Energy ramps up that you have to expend as you get further and further into different sectors.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can blitz early, but you're not going to be able to blitz hard. That's one of the things that they mentioned in the post, was they didn't want people blowing through it all right away and then going in and they're done.
Yeah, that wasn't me anyway. That was probably that. I know a lot of whales do that. I know a lot of whales and a lot of krakens will do that. Your run-of-the-mill average player doesn't blitz through it in the first week. They spend about a week trying to clear the sectors, and then they spend the rest of the time just, plowing through the feats and, looking at people who've done theory crafting videos and stuff like that. But if it's going to cost more energy, then all that's going to do is make it more grindy for those that couldn't blitz through it anyway. The people that blitz through it will just pay extra to continue to blitz through it, because that's what will more than likely happen. There'll be a consumable that will allow them that they can purchase with crystals that allows them to through it. So I don't think it's going to affect the whales and the krakens that have got full rosters and credits to burn, as I would put it. But yeah, something like that is definitely going to make it more grindy.
Sector 4 intrigues me. We are going to see Maul in action before we get to use him, because you have Commander Ahsoka Tano waiting for you as the mini boss, and then a Mandalorian team with Savage as the big boss.
See, I'm actually quite looking forward to seeing that, because that's the team that I want to make when I get Maul. That is the team I want to make when I get not with Savage.
They're not using Gar Saxon, not using Imperial Super Commando. It's Maul, Armor. Oh no, there is Gar Saxon. For a second, I thought that was Canderous. It's Gar Saxon and Bo-Katan.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing that team. I'd like to see how it performs. Like I said, if you're doing the normal mode, this is going to be easy for you, because even people doing the normal mode will have a couple of full relic teams that they'll be able to use to brute force their way through all of the sectors. The question is whether they're going to have squads that are going to be able to do the feats. I know that for normal over hard, it's half. So you only have to do half the feats at normal than you do at hard. But, some of these feats are going to be just as tough. So, but yeah, no. What else?
All right, Sector 5. Phoenix awaits you as the mini-boss, Neil.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got Ahsoka Tano Fulcrum in it.
Mm-hmm. So these are all 6-man teams, then?
No. No Satine, no Sabine, and no Zeb.
Oh, right, okay.
It's Hera, Ezra Kanan, Chopper, and Fulcrum. But the final boss, the very final boss, is Galactic Legend Kenobi. With Mace, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Grandmaster Yoda, and Gas.
Oh yeah, so it's make it the hardest GL of all to be, with Gas and Ki-Adi-Mundi in there. Oh yeah, that's just lovely. That yeah. I'm see the thing that frustrates me the most is I've been clawing my way through Conquest with my account, and These last 7. This last one, I was within 1 point of making that final prize crate, and now with all of these changes, I don't think I'm ever going to get that close again. Not for a very, very long time.
Yeah, it's going to certainly be an interesting one. They've changed up the data discs.
Yes, I like that. That's a feature. I like them. I like them taking 3 out and putting 3 new ones in, and 3 out and 3 in, 3 out and 3 in. I like that. I like the way they do that. I think it's a great way to keep it fresh. I just wish that they could rotate them. So it'd be nice to see my deplorables. The deplorables. It would nice to be.
They're gone.
It'd be nice to see
Deployable
them
cooling
come back.
systems are gone.
Well, yeah, I know they're gone. That's why I'm saying it would be nice if they would rotate them back in.
They didn't make the literally quote unquote. Sorry, deployable cooldown systems, you didn't make the cut.
Yeah, this time it didn't make the cut. This time, that's not to say that they aren't going to bring them back. It's bringing deployable cooling systems back is going to be like one of those lovely moments in the game where just I would analyze. I'll find the word in a minute. I would analogize it with here's 3 days of double drops, or here's a week of double drops. That kind of, so it's like, oh, that's nice. I'm gonna get some extra stuff there. If they put deployable cooling systems out, everybody's gonna be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a fun one. This is gonna be a fun one. GMY, here we go. Lord Vader. Darth Vader.
But then, if they put deployable cooling systems back in, we're not going to see a Jedi feat in that.
Well, I don't care. It's just a lot of fun. Every second or third match, you just get those beautiful matches where it's just slap, 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 and you're like, oh, I don't have to worry about this node. Excellent. So yeah, depends on the other data cards, but yeah, I like the rotating. I've always liked rotating. As long as they keep good ones coming.
Think about this, Neil. Caustic, one of the data discs that they talked about, it's a purple one. Once again, I hope that they've balanced it out where you'll get at least a purple by the end of 3. Guaranteed, that is. But caustic recurrence. When a debuff on an enemy expires, they gain damage over time for 2 turns, which can't be resisted. Think of that on a Vader team.
Yeah, no, I've had that. I've had data cards like that before, and it's been great on teams with Vader in it. It's been absolutely great on teams with Vader in it. And if you're, I remember when I was doing the damage over time feat, I had a data disc that did just something like that, and I threw Karth in there as well to do AOE's and drop more. And yeah, it was one of the fastest feats that I did. I think you had to do like 50 damage over times, and I did it in like 2 matches. It was brilliant. So yeah, I like data cards like that.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I worry that I'm not gonna get the max box and get Maul, even though I've pretty much ignored Cat because I was finishing the Razor Crest, which goes very nicely with my 7-star Executor, I must say.
Sure it does. I've not lost to an Executor yet, so I'm not having any issues with it.
Well, they did change. They did do a change for the Executor. We're going to talk about that before we take our break and get into our interview. Crew ability Vader's Bounty. At max rank, tank allies take 50% reduced damage from out-of-turn attacks. So are you... that's at max rank, and you still haven't faced a 7-star, right?
No, I've only faced 4, 5s, and 6s.
Okay. So my situation where I'm at rank, where I have it maxed out, my bounty hunter or my Bosk Houndstooth does not die anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I think your whole thing about going after the Houndstooth right away, I don't think that's anything that you should be worrying about anymore.
No, that was a problem that they sorted, but they only sorted it at the 7-star level.
They only sorted it for 7-star, correct. Yeah. They also added, changed up breach of protocols. It now calls all bounty hunters to assist. At max level, the ability will dispel tenacity up from enemies, so it takes away the tenacity up on the Houndstooth. Bounty hunter allies will deal plus 10% damage. If they're breached, they'll deal 25% damage instead.
Yeah, it was a good boost for the ship. It needed a defensive boost. It really did need some form of defensive boost. Absolute powerhouse on offense. But, obviously when it first came out, it was not what you would expect it to be on defense. And, this change, this buff to the ship, this buff to the abilities, seems to have been just what is needed. It is still beatable, but you've got to use a very, very specific methodology, and you have to get good RNG. It's as simple as that. Have to get good RNG. Even, with bad RNG against the 6 stars that I faced, it was going down to the wire. There was like 30 seconds left of a battle. And the only reason I was still in it was because I was using Malevolence and, I was able to summon Vulture Droids. Anything else, if I'd used anything else, forget about it. So yeah, they've done a good job making the high price of the Executor a little bit more value for money.
Yeah.
From a defensive point of view, because prior to the boost, it was not good value for users. It really wasn't. There were other ship factions that would be just as effective on offense and just as defective on defense as the Executor.
I'm still seeing, and I saw 2 videos about it where Rebels is still hard countering, even Rebels with no reinforcement.
Yeah, but obviously you need to remember that all of the Rebels are max relict. The Rebel fleet itself is max relict, which, yeah, all right, fine. You're unnecessarily relicking an Akbar, and you're unnecessarily relicking a bunch of Rebels that under normal circumstances would be around that 3, 4, 5 mark, but it's a cheaper alternative to the Executor, which requires you to purchase Relic 8. And Relic 8 is the kicker. That's the, and
it's soon going to be 9.
Yeah, if the price pinch was all below Relic 7, I remember, I said this before they even brought a new, when they were talking about this and they brought the new shit, I said, if you do not want, if you want to be able to do this again, you cannot start at the pinnacle. Like we've had 6G, we're on our 6th GL, right? And the first one started at only 60 relic total required. Okay, that's where it started, and it slowly increased. If you're going to do a ship of the Executor's class, you start, like you do with Rey and with Slacker, at a low requirement, so that the next ship can be a bit more, and the ship after that can be a bit more, and the ship after that can be a bit more. What they've done is they've skipped all of these and gone straight for the top end, and said, right off the bat, we want Relic 7 and Relic 8s off you in order for you to have this ship when it should have been a couple of 3s, a couple of 5s, a couple of 7s. There you go. So, yeah. Those are my
all right. Well, somebody wise once said that they want something that you put investment into to reflect that investment. We're going to talk to the person that said that, SB Crumb, coming up after this break with Story Time with Uncle Thad. If you're joining us at our normal time, that wouldn't be for another 30 minutes, but we have Crumb for 2 segments. Stick around. We'll be right back after these messages right here on the Escape Podcast.
The Escape Pod Cast with Paul Anthony and Neil Andrew Ware.
Hello, Escape Padawans. It is the Llama here to remind you that the Escape Pod castaways are on social media. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, you can catch us on YouTube and on Twitch every week streaming Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, LEGO Legacy Heroes Unbox, your favorite new Galaxy of Heroes show GA Center, and so much more. Come catch us on the web.
Back to school. The Escape Pod, cast for kids. It's really cool.
Hello there, Padawans, and welcome back to another story time with Uncle Thad and the Escape Podcast for kids. Today we're going to talk about Maul and where in the canon his kit actually comes from. That's right, my friends, he's dropped the Darth tag and added a few others, but I am happy to finally be able to talk about Robo-Legs Maul. That's right, after a workplace incident on Naboo in which he lost the lower half of his body, Darth Maul became just Maul. But to fully understand the newest Maul, we must start at the beginning, or actually his midpoint. Well, not his midpoint, because half of that stayed on Naboo, which makes me wonder if Maul replaced his lower half with robo-legs, did his actual legs replace the top half with a robot body, like a mecha Maul? Dave Filoni, I know you're listening. The people need answers. But I digress. As you may remember from the last time we talked about Darth Maul, rumor has it that he is the illegitimate son of Darth Sidious and Mother Talzin. Now, I may be the only person spreading this rumor, but I feel like it has real legs, unlike Maul, whose legs are robotic, which we've covered. What is clear, though, is that Mama T is Maul's biological mother. Now, whether through some sort of night witch magic or her maternal instincts, Mama T knew that her son did not die when he was cut in half. Sure, he'd need a special toilet for the rest of his life, but he wasn't dead. Betrayed? Yeah. Suffering? Of course. But dead? Not a chance. See, what kept Maul clinging to life was his hate. Much like a scorned teenage girl, Maul had too much hate to be killed so easily. Knowing this, Mama T sent Maul's brother, Savage Opress, to collect what remained of the Sith Lord on the planet Lotho Minor and return him to her. Once returned to Dathomir, Mother Talzin not only healed Maul's body by providing him a new lower half, but also healed his mind. And once recovered, Maul set off on a path of destruction and revenge that would eventually lead to his meeting with Pre Vizsla and the Mandalorian group Death Watch. Working together, Maul and Pre Vizsla built the Shadow Collective, a network of underworld villains and criminals hell-bent on power. With this army, Maul planned to overthrow Duchess Satine of Mandalore and place himself on her throne. Now this is where things get intense. By doing so, Maul lures Obi-Wan to Mandalore in an attempt to rescue his baby mama. I mean girlfriend. I mean friend with benefits. I mean longtime friend with no benefits, Duchess Satine. During the rescue, Maul kills Satine. Later that night, Sidious shows up, kills Savage Opress, and beats the ever-living crap out of Maul. The Zabrak is taken back to Stygian Prime, at which point, Death Watch breaks in and breaks Maul out. Now, what you have to remember is Darth Sidious is playing space chess at a Grand Master level. This was all part of Palpatine's plan to eliminate Maul's Shadow Collective. And for the most part, it worked. After the prison break, Maul reunites with Death Watch on the planet Zanbar, where his forces are almost immediately attacked by General Grievous. While both sides received massive casualties, Maul was forced to flee to Ord Mantell. Here, a Black Sun outpost waited to provide Maul with reinforcements and set their own trap for the Separatists. After a few more victories and a few more substantial losses, Maul found himself back on Mandalore. Trying to rebuild his Shadow Collective, Maul learned of the presence of a Jedi. Little did he know that no Jedi was on Mandalore. Instead of Obi-Wan Kenobi showing up to battle Maul, the former Padawan Ahsoka Tano was there. And that, my friends, is where in the canon Robolegs Maul actually comes from. So let's take a look at the kit and see how well it matches up with what we've learned. Now, I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Maul is one of the most tragic characters of all of Star Wars. His basic ability is a clear reflection of that. By introducing the new mechanic of anguish, Maul takes damage, but with more damage he takes, he gains strength. And each time he is hurt, he only grows stronger. His first special ability, Fervent Rush, has much the same feel as Darth Maul's first ability. It is an AoE ability with great damage capabilities and deals devastating blows to the morale of the opponent he faces. It capitalizes on his unique double-bladed lightsaber and acrobatic prowess. Even with robotic legs, that does not slow the man down. Seething Rage is an ability that was definitely created by someone you never want to play Uno with. This is the type of person who hoards all the skip cards and plays them all at once. The more the skips are used, the closer that player gets to victory. The more Maul uses this ability, the deadlier he becomes. Maul's leadership ability is essentially the Dread Pirate Roberts of SWGOH. Defeat the Mandalore, become the Mandalore. Defeat the Mandalore, become the Mandalore, and so on, and so on, and so on. Now, Maul's only unique ability, Bound by Hatred, is perfectly Maul. For what would be Maul, any Maul, if it didn't absolutely hate Kenobi? Maul is a bull, and Kenobi is the red flag that pisses him off. What does the bull have against the flag? Well, he cut off his legs and threw him down an abandoned elevator shaft, for one. For two, he probably just doesn't like his face. Well, that's it for me this week. Stay tuned for next week's episode of Storytime with Uncle Thad on the Escape Podcast for Kids.
HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with the digital features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or territory wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Hey there, listeners. Merchandise specialist Critty K here. Do you enjoy the Escape Pod and want to support the channel and get something a little extra for yourself as well? Head on over to tpublic.com/user/theescapepodcast and grab a Team Neil, Team Paul, Critty Play, or many other fun Padawan designs on your choice of shirt, cup, sticker, mask, or even a magnet. And be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast Discord and get the latest info on the other designs I make as well. Sometimes there's even a sale going on, so it is smart to stop on by. Thank you for supporting the Escape Pod cast.
Receiving incoming transmission. Receiving incoming transmission. Receiving incoming transmission.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's another incoming transmission with some extra spice. Paul, introduce our guest.
Well, this guy has been a very, very big influence on my life ever since he became a president of the Facial Hair Club for Men. He's not only the president, he's also a customer, just like me. Ladies and gentlemen, from Capital Games, SB Crumb. Crumb, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great, folks. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. And I just want to apologize for last week. I know you guys said I was going to be there, and I will confirm I was very sick last week, and I apologize for not being here. But thanks for having me on this week. I'm excited to hang out.
Thank you for coming on this week. Neil, I'm going to go ahead and start off with that hardball question that I had.
Okay.
We're starting off good. Let's go. Let's do it.
Just to show you guys, this is truly absolutely live. And I have a question that's been burning, just like Ralph with the purple berries.
Where do we go with that? Okay.
So you heard us talk earlier in the show about that 72 relic tiers for Slacker, 62 for Slacker, 72 for Eternal Emperor, 78 for Jedi Master Kenobi. Now there's 90 for Vader, plus whatever you have to do to get gas. Additional ones if you aren't Ando. For the love of Pete. With that being said, when Galactic Legends were rolled out, you guys stated that you wanted Galactic Legends to beat other Galactic Legends and it be more of a diverse sort of meta.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm seeing here, if you go by what you've also said, that you want everything to be indicative of its investment, how can you justify?
How do you square those two things?
Yeah, how can you justify Slacker or Rey or Sith Eternal Emperor even scratching Lord Vader? And we haven't seen the kit, we haven't seen it in action, we haven't gotten our hands on it yet, but it's sounding a lot like Lord Vader is going to be the executor of the squad shard.
I don't think he's going to be that powerful. I think he'll, and we could talk about executor at some point today as well. But I think the idea around Galactic Legends is, they're all generally around the same power level. And I'd say Lord Vader is probably going to be around the same level as Jedi Master Kenobi and most of the other Galactic Legends. But the idea here is also that we take where people are in the game right now, and that's evolved over time. And Lord Vader should not be your first Galactic Legend you shoot for. You should be going for some of the easier ones that have lower requirements to them. So if you want to say have 6 Galactic Legends in your roster, that should be something that's also rewarded in things like Grand Arena and Territory Wars and things like that. But the idea here is to allow people to get these ones, to people who really want to get these ones up front, that they're going to have to invest deeply into those characters to get the next one. But the game has evolved over time. The amount of resources that people have right now are different from when Rey and them came out. So we kind of set that as the bar kind of moves slowly up as we go along with Galactic Legends, if that makes sense.
It's making sense that people would be further along in their rosters, but that line that you said, the investment is indicative of how strong they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that was used because people have been, not just were, but have been up in arms about the changes to Galactic Legends, and that you can't fracture Rey or you can't punch C in the face with the Dark Trooper anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It worries me that it's going to, that the power creep is getting too big. How do you respond to somebody that has that worry, namely me?
Games are like this are always going to have a little bit of power creep over time. Like it's our job to sort of manage that in a way that seems like fair and doesn't like go off the charts tomorrow or anything like that. And we think I'll say personally for me as well, but I think as a studio that we are moving along at a pretty slow pace. There's definitely been increases in the amount of power you needed, but I don't know how else to say that. Like, we're trying to make sure that doesn't go off the charts too fast. And there's other things we were trying to explore as well, like in the future, like how do we also have things that are exciting people to get that aren't just power increases? And that's something we're trying to figure out right now in a lot of ways of like, is that a vanity thing? Is that like something else that shows off your power in game as like in a battle? There's could be some other opportunities there to try and figure out how do we make that progress, not just, because this is the thing we got in with gear. Like we could keep making more gear levels, but at some point, if we keep following the same trajectory that gear has, it's going to get to the point where G15 is just so much more powerful than say G12. And it's like G12 is now completely uninteresting to get to. So there's got to be a balance there. And we're going to try and make sure that it's not incredibly like going one direction all of a sudden. We want it to slowly kind of move along over time. So I hear you, like power creep's a scary thing, but as there has to be something that people are more excited to get to and to keep progressing to, especially at the top end of this game where they've have everything, then there's no incentive to keep growing and to try and get more teams and things like that. If they can sit there at the top and there's no one really trying to come after them, right?
I think I heard something in there that really intrigues me. I'm going to have to wait to the break to ask you if I can ask you about that.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Neil, you've got some pressing questions.
Yes, I have some pressing questions. And no, it's not about bloody GAC.
Not this time.
Not this time. Okay, so Conquest, I've got it written down in the note. Conquest.
Beautiful book.
Conquest was billed by you guys at CG as the mode where we, the player, got to use our entire rosters. You gave us a bunch of generic feats like win with all dark side, win with all light side, win without a tank, win with attackers, win getting 50 stealths, win getting 50 DOTs. So we got to decide what the best course of action moving forward was. So we would see a feat and it'd be like, well, maybe I'll try that faction, or maybe I'll try that faction, or maybe I'll try a mixture of factions in order to complete that feat. Mm-hmm. Now, this latest Conquest, we don't get to choose what we want from our entire rosters because of certain feats that you've chosen to put in the game that we have to go for in order to get a max crate. So with all of that, my question, why the shift towards less options available for feats? Why remove player agency as opposed to increase it by just making harder generic feats?
Mm-hmm. First thing I'll say in the chat here, there is no plans to expand gear levels, just to be clear here. That was an example I was just saying as what it could look like, and we are not doing that. There's no G15 coming. Don't worry about that. But to your question, about like Conquest is about, challenging a broad roster, right? And there should be value in saying, hey, I have a lot of these characters and squads leveled up. You can still complete the Conquest without having a lot of these different squads, but there is some focus on saying, hey, if I want to get the max crate, that there should be a broad set of requirements to get there. And there should also be different ways to get there. I do hear you in saying that like it is a little bit more prescriptive and not as open as it was in the past. And that I think is unfortunate. I would like to see it to be more open than it is now. But that being said, I think it is doing what it's designed to do, which is challenge you to have a wide roster of squads that can do different things in different scenarios. And the data disc will help you do that as well. The consumables are now also a lot of faction-focused consumables to kind of boost those up if you don't maybe have that at the max level or at a certain level. You'll be able to use things to try and get there as well. Like, this is not... You're not playing like this is an arena, right, where everyone's on the same playing field. You're able to tweak the odds a bit by adding things to your team and your squad that you don't have in any other parts of the game. The data disc, the consumables, all that kind of stuff as well. Not to mention, obviously, that the other team also has the modifiers and things like that as well. So this acts a lot differently than any other part of the game. But the idea is to challenge the broad roster and at a high level and make sure that if you have these squads leveled up, that you're rewarded for having that.
Oh, and I'm on board with increasing the difficulty. I think increasing the difficulty is fine, but you can increase the difficulty without removing certain options and without removing certain agency. Like for a whale/Kraken account is probably going to have 12 factions because there are 12. You've got Bounty Hunters, Phoenix, Separatists, Night Sisters, Rebel Fighter, Old Republic, Empire, Mace Windu, Mandos, Smuggler, Geos, and Bad Batch. Very specific feats that must be done using those squads. Now, you've got to bear in mind that when you're on the hard mode, Sector 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, they are all relic levels. So somebody that, sure, they might have Bounty Hunters relict, and they might have Bad Batch relict, and they might have some Smugglers and some Night Sisters relict, but what if they don't have Mandos or Empire relic? Gear, sub-gear 12 characters. I mean, you could put the best data discs on them in the world. But
that's not going to close that gap.
It's not going to close that gap, and that's what I mean by removing agents. So instead of and that's why I'm asking: is this the direction that you're moving? Is this something that's going to, or is this just something that you're testing? Because the faction feats, have the potential to wane certain people's interest in Conquest, and it's a really good mode. I've said before, it's not always fun, because if you don't get the RNG of the data discs, it's a bit of a grind. But when you do, it's a lot of fun. So if you implement these changes and put these factions in, having to win 14 matches with Phoenix in order to complete a feat, some people aren't even going to be able to complete one battle. And I've just used Phoenix off the top of my head, because it's one of the less, most, like me, a lot of people will take their Phoenix to the maximum required levels in order to get Thrawn, and then they're quickly forgotten about. They're quickly forgotten about until they realise, crap, I need them for my Rebel fleet. But even then, most people just take them to 11 just so they can max the abilities of the ship. So is that something that you're going to continue with moving forward, or is the faction feat implementation in Galactic Conquest 7 flexible? Is it something that you'll look at and go, yeah, clearly the community didn't like this, let's just make it harder. So instead of 50 stealths, we make them go for 100 stealths. Instead of 100 damage over times, we make them go 200 damage over times. Something along those lines. And like you said, making it broader, so that more factions have to be used. But
Can I add on to that question, Neil?
Sure.
Where the numbers? I mean, are you guys using the numbers the same way that I'm trying to figure out how to put it?
Are you using the numbers from the?
Let me answer the first question here about is this the end of Conquest? This is the only thing we're ever going to see? No, absolutely not. Conquest will evolve over time. And the first couple ones that we had, we didn't have hard mode. A lot of people weren't in there. So 1 and 2 were kind of just getting data on normal, which is fine. But we want to see obviously data on hard as well. Then we started working on these changes. And so really Conquest 7 was the first one for us to really dive in to make these sort of larger changes. But the goal is still what we said in the beginning, which is to do this every 3 months to shake things up again, relook at all this, add new stuff, take stuff out, change up the feats. Maybe it won't be as focused on factions. All of that stuff is definitely on the table to be changed. And I think we'll definitely look at how the performance of the next couple events of this goes, and definitely pivot off of whatever the learnings we get off that. So don't feel like this is the only thing that's going to happen for Conquest going forward. It is an idea to try and mix it up and see if it feels different and see if it feels good. And if a lot of people go, no, this is not what I'm enjoying, and they, stop playing it, or they just say on the forums, we say, hey, we're not liking it for these reasons, we're happy to send to re-examine what Conquest is. And we plan on re-examining Conquest every few months to try and mix things up. So this is not the end of the world or anything like that. If you don't like it, we will definitely be taking your feedback.
This is phase 2 of the MCU.
Yeah, phase 2, and hopefully we'll be able to pivot a little bit faster, because I said I think one of the big issues was that waiting to Conquest 7 from Conquest 1, you had 6 of these in a row that were really the same. Yeah, we swapped out some data discs, and I think those were good. I'm glad we swapped out a few, but not having a real substantial refresh, I think, makes it feel very stale over time and get a lot more frustrating. There also should be enough time for you to start learning the combinations and get some knowledge. Let folks on YouTube show you which ones are cool. And so there's a couple, probably still want to run a couple events before we change them. So that's why we kind of settled on every 3 months trying to make this kind of change up happen.
So speaking of things that get stale, is there ever going to be a reskin of Territory Wars?
Reskin of Territory Wars.
I mean,
yeah.
it doesn't matter it matters if you change how it plays, but nonetheless, I mean, how many times do we have to go to Jakku?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's about like where is our time best spent? Is it better spent making something more interesting with Territory Wars if we go back and revisit it, or is it just better to like update the visuals of the map? But I get like the map visually has been the same for a long time, but I think I don't know if that's the best use of our time is to just update it visually. I think if we go back to it, there's probably some more larger mechanical changes to Territory Wars to keep it sort of in line with what it is now, but makes it more interesting for players, especially at the top end who, you have only a limited number of territories and you only have a limited number of teams you put in there. And at the very top end, it's not really interesting anymore because you kind of see the same exact squads over and over again. So I think that's probably a more interesting direction for us to take a look at it in the future. But that's something I don't know. Well, it's pretty far out. I don't know if we'll be able to talk about it at this point of any concrete details, but it's definitely something we're looking at.
Okay.
Maybe not visually though, unfortunately.
I mean, I'd love to fight a battle on Hoth. Just take the territory battle map and drop it in back.
I don't know. I honestly don't know how hard it would be to do that. I know that there's some technical limitations on that, and that map has been around for a while. And I think going back and messing with it has some knock-on effects that we haven't expected when we got to try and check that out. But that being said, it's definitely a possibility in the future. I have no idea if that's going to happen anytime soon, but it's definitely a possibility.
Okay.
Okay. I do have a GAC question now.
Oh, here it comes. You knew it had to be there, people.
You knew it was coming, and you knew. Okay, so the character nerfs for Vader, Luke, Gas, and Watt were implemented mid GAC.
Yes.
For someone like me that keeps my ears to the ground and my finger on the pulse, I can be ready for stuff like that. And there were posts and messages and tags and pings going left, right, and center in Discord. Get your offense in now. The changes don't happen until this time. Now, a huge section of the playing community that don't have their ear to the ground and don't have their finger on the pulse, will have set their defense and kept what they wanted for offense without being aware of these changes because there was no in-game announcement of these changes. So Nerf's aside,
there was a couple inboxes we sent out saying that these changes were happening, and then also we did post on the forums saying last week saying, hey, by the way, this is coming next week. Be prepared for this happening. That being said, it was not ideal to happen in the middle of a GAC.
Yeah.
There's kind of there was not a great moment for us to do it over the course of of this week or next week. But this was unfortunately the best time we could find. It was also delayed out by a day because we ran into some issues in the release on Wednesday. When we normally release, which would have been in between time, and it would have been fine. But yeah, it was not the most ideal moment. But we had to kind of make best with what we had.
Yeah. So that and obviously that then gets to my question. Nerfs aside, isn't this something that should happen regarding a competitive PvP mode of the game outside the actual so either at the end of 3v3 going into the next out at the end of round 3 going into the next round 1, or just before moving forward, is this the kind of thing that you're going to try and avoid again? Because
absolutely, we'll try and avoid this if we can. It was, not an ideal situation to say the least, but there are so many different things going on at any given moment, especially PvP, that it is hard to find the right exact moment to do that. That being said, we're still going to strive to do it better and try and make sure that we don't do this in the middle of an event, because that was not what our goal was here for sure, and that's unfortunate. But yeah, we will definitely keep trying to hit that mark for sure. I don't know if it's always going to work. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't, but it's definitely something we understand is a problem, and it's frustrating for folks when it does happen.
Yeah, I was watching Dylar live doing this, and everyone every 5 minutes someone's giving him a time check. The changes are going to happen in 30 minutes. Hurry up. The changes are going to happen in 20 minutes. The changes. So it's like, hurry up and get to the end of your damn offense. I mean, he lost to a really, really good player, but, people were he was very mindful of getting his offense done before the changes got.
Yeah.
So it's good to know that you'll make attempts to try and avoid that with any future nerfs.
Sincerely, we will try to. I know it sucks when it happens like that.
No worries. Excellent.
On the subject of changes, I can understand defense penetration, but I don't understand why you had to take away the fracture of Thrawn. I don't understand why you had to take away the applying of armor shred from gas. Can you explain?
I mean, I'm not a designer, so I can't speak to this in depth, but the armor shred is similar to the defense penetration problem of, being able to crit on top of that. You can have a very wide variance in the amount of damage you can do, and that also helps with that. Fracture, though, on the other hand, Fracture's continually one of those abilities that is just so powerful and flexible that we have to, design around that ability a lot of times, because Thrawn has been a powerhouse in this game since he was released. So Thrawn is something we're always trying to figure out how do we work around, but also keep it valuable for folks. But it is definitely a difficult one to hit the mark on. But the armor stuff is definitely around the same ideas around defense penetration.
Okay. Thaddeus says, what? Thrawn can't fracture anymore? No, he can't fracture Galactic Legends anymore.
Yeah, he can't fracture Galactic Legends specifically.
All right. Did you have any of the other questions?
Yeah, I do have another GAC question.
Yeah, go ahead, because I'm going to start loading up.
You start loading up the QOL
the feature
ones.
requests.
The feature requests, yes. So, obviously, there's been a lot of talk, and there have been several announcements regarding the GAC tournament between the devs and the content creators.
Sure.
We've got 3 people picked and their team members, so we know it's going to be Ranger and Loki. We know it's going to be Cubs and Gridden, and we know it's going to be Gom and Team Manager from Operation Metal.
I think Ranger told me the other day.
He's going to go Thane instead.
He's I think. Actually, that's a new update though. But yeah.
I think he said that it was either going to be Loki or Thane, depending on who was going to be available.
Yeah, who's available.
I think he's going to take the GAC Whisperer in.
I think so. He wants all the help he can get, which is very intimidating.
How is progress coming along with that? Because obviously it's only been loosely discussed. Obviously, you said that the developing team are testing a server to try and make all of the teams equal, so everybody gets the same number of characters, and the characters themselves are all equal. And the variable is going to be everybody gets the same mods, but you choose what mods go on what characters, which kind of makes sense.
There's a skill in that whole piece, right? So
obviously this is only the first one, which, and we're hoping that there's no doubt in my mind it's going to be very, very successful. How frequently do you see this? Because obviously the server's being created, it's going to be getting used. How frequently do you see these things getting used? Because the community would love to see something like this getting used like kind of all the time. Not just devs versus content creators, but content creator versus content creator, community versus content creator. Hell, community versus community. You might have someone in SWGOH community who thinks he's good and bad, and lay down a challenge to someone in Mudbum's community. So having the what's the availability of this server going to be like to the community after this tournament?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I think we definitely want to get through the first one to see what goes wrong here. So I don't want to say like, hey, we're definitely going to do all this stuff right afterwards, because we just don't know how it's going to go. That being said, I tested it this week and there was very little issue. I threw myself into a GAC with just myself and Doja. both got matched up, everything worked fine, had the same account in there, and it all seemed to work great. So far it seems like there's been no issue, which has been nice. So there is, we're just trying to make sure matchmaking all works properly and things like that, and with a limited number of people, as it's designed to work for a broad number of players. So but to your question, like if it is successful, I think we'd love to do this more frequently. It is not hard for us to schedule an event and put that on that server and say it's going to go live from this time to this time here, give everyone access to an account, and then be off to the races. So like, I've been really surprised in my test this week, how fast it's been to just like get it up and running. It's been, I expected this to take a little bit more time, like getting the server ready and whatnot. And then also, seeing how do we add people to the thing? How does the matchmaking work? And it seems like it's working great. We're going to run a bunch more tests to make sure that's the case. And I did a couple this week and all of them worked well. So I can imagine this is something that we do more frequently. I think it'd be really cool to pull in different communities and say like, have them go head to head with stuff. And I definitely want to do more with, if this one is successful, to do with more content creators, because there's a ton of people have hit me up saying, hey, I want to be part of this thing. How do I get in here? And so probably if we do a second one, it would probably be everyone who's on the list who's asking me to get in there too. So we'll definitely have to talk with a bunch more folks if it works out, because I think it seems like it'd be fairly easy to set up, and since all the legwork's been done, I'm imagining it's not hard. But hey, let's see how this first one goes, and if it doesn't blow up in our faces, then or if it does, maybe we can fix it and make sure everything goes smoothly. Because so far so good though.
Yeah, because I want Neil on a level playing field. That's all I'm saying.
Because there's a little show out there called Grand Arena Center.
I've heard of such things.
Covers content creators playing in a league format, and it would be like so incredibly awesome to actually have the ability to put a group of people like we cover in the same group, so that they all have to on a level playing field. So it's not what you farmed or how you farmed, what characters you've got, or how good your mods are. It's what do you do when all of the characters are the same and all of the mods are the same, but you choose where your mods go, and then boom, you go in the battle.
Are you talking about playoffs?
Yeah, almost like playoffs. Because I do genuinely believe something like that could put Grand Arena Championship on the cusp of an esport.
I think there's a lot of cool ideas, and I definitely want to explore them once we get a couple of these under our belt, because I think just hearing you talk about it, I'm like, that would be incredibly exciting to watch. Like, I want to watch that. I want to see a bunch of my favorite content creators go up in one grand arena, all matched up and battle it all out. I think that's a really cool idea. That would, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, yep, that's brilliant. That was my question. Thank you for that.
Great idea. I love it. Let's see how this goes, and we'll see what we can do.
That it'd be a pipe dream, but it would also be the most amazing thing at the same time. All right. One of the things that I wanted to bring you on about was feature requests that everybody else doesn't want except for you.
Yes. All right. I'm excited for this. Yes.
And then also we wanted to review your puzzles, because you said there's a puzzle in the future.
There's always more puzzles coming as long as I'm around.
I want to figure out. I want to try to get inside your brain before this next puzzle comes out, so maybe we can find the little thread. But we're gonna do it after a quick break right here on the Escape Podcast.
The Escape Podcast with Paul Anthony and Neil Andrew Ware.
HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with additional features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or territory wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod Cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Podawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including access to Shitty Bill's Arena Tracking Bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is patreon.com/The Escape Pod, and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
And now time for something completely shameless.
A few hours have passed since we last encountered our intrepid interlopers. Cartoon Hellenix and his droid companion N00B decided to take a short detour on their trip from the Outer Rim world Rune to the Ecumenopolis Coruscant, pit-stopping on the industrial planet Corellia. Corellia is the adoptive homeworld of the vile Salty Spartan, and, coincidentally, the home of the galaxy's best space gyros, as voted by a bunch of Gamorrean food snobs on Insta-hologram. We pick up our short story as the two fugitives walk back to their ship, which is incidentally parked in a yellow zone.
Can we please hurry up?
Meatbag.
Relax, newbie. We're going.
We can't keep stalling, Hellenix. My scans of the
HoloNet
indicate that TC-14 has sent even more agents after us.
Noob.
Yes, Hellenix?
I said, relax, droid. What are you so worried about?
I don't know, Hellenix. Maybe it was that
bounty hunter
we ran into back at the BZ Grill. As I just told you 5 minutes ago, if I'm scanning the
HoloNet,
and if I know we are now listed as the galaxy's most wanted criminals, then
other people
will also know this and come after us in hopes of being paid some kind of massive reward.
And like I told you, newbie, I could not fly past my homeworld without making a quick pit stop for some space grub. Everybody knows Helly can't resist a good space gyro. You know, one with everything on it. With the onions and the tomatoes and the salt and the pepper and the oregano and tons of tzatziki sauce. Ooh! And the space fries wrapped into the gyro itself. It's literally irresistible to all carbon-based life forms who also happen to have taste buds.
Hellenix.
Yes, noob.
Isn't it pronounced space?
Gyros?
Are you seriously trying to correct how I pronounce Greek words, newbie?
You do realize most of our audience
doesn't speak Greek.
Our audience is smart, noob. They'll get the gist of my insult.
Our audience is indeed smart, and Hey!
Wait a second.
Why did you just insult me in Greek, Hellenix? I'm always at my best. It's part of my programming.
Relax, newbie. I'm just jabbing at you. You know what I said wasn't all that insulting. Sheesh.
Spartan.
Hey, Shaman, my man.
We don't
have time
for this, Hellenix. We can't make another pit stop. We simply
must keep moving.
Chill, newbie. The victorious Viking is my guy. I don't care who's after us. I'm stopping to say hello to my friend. What's up, you old space wizard?
Following the will of the Force, as always. I felt a tremor in the aether, and it guided me here, where now I see you. The mystical realm predicted our encounter.
Ooh, this sounds intriguing. Tell us more.
Oh, jeez.
At dawn, I was struck with a vision. In my vision, I was leading a ragtag group of warriors through the jungles of Felucia. One of them was a super hot blue-skinned Twi'lek troll. So anyway, we arrived at a clearing in the jungle, and there, in front of us, shone a brilliant beam of light. It was so bright, I was forced to turn my head and shield my eyes. I looked back at the party I was leading, and to my shock, the brave warriors were all gone. In their place was a battle-damaged, obviously scared, kinda pathetic, seemingly short-circuiting, teeny, little PK-series droid, kneeling down as if suffering from mechanical failure. I sensed his sadness. I felt its pain. I returned my gaze to the beam of light, and as I did, it was extinguished. And in its place, I saw an ancient Jedi temple, now corrupted, and in disrepair. And there, at its entryway, stood a lone, small, sad little mouse, staring at me, as if I stole its cheese.
And then what happened?
I don't know. The vision ended.
Oh.
But now, I see you, Hellenics of you all, accompanied by that same droid, here, on Corellia. This is the droid I was looking for.
Coincidence?
No, Spartan. Providence.
Well, you know what that means.
I have a
bad feeling
about this.
Stop being so pessimistic, droid. I think our duo should become a trio. What do you say, Shaman, my man? Wanna join our ragtag group of warriors? We could always use a wise old sage to lead us on our journey. We're headed to the capital on Coruscant.
Lennox?
Ah, jeez, noob, what do you want?
Don't you think it's a bad idea to have a guy who's wearing a helmet with
Viking horns
on it leading us to
the galactic capital?
I can't see any rational being having any objections with this idea, newbie. Besides, I said it during the last episode. I intend to piss everyone off over the course of the next few months. Now shut your trap and let's get on with the skit. Okay?
There he is. Time to attack him.
Noob, we're under attack!
Wait, why does everything suddenly look like a SWGOH PvP battle? We've been attacked plenty times before, and
not once
has this type of overlay appeared.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times, newbie.
I know.
Don't think about it.
Alright, boys, let's get this battle started. Okay, looks like this is going to be a turn-based system with each of us having a basic move, a special move, and a summoning move, I guess.
But SWGOH doesn't have any summoning moves, Hellenix.
Stop over-analyzing the episode, newbie, and start reading these Rock Eyes kits. There may be something important hidden in there. Check their speeds versus ours. Who's going first?
I go first. Pebble throw 1.
Ow!
I'm next. Pebble throw 2.
Hey! Do you guys mind? Sheesh.
Are you injured, Spartan?
Oh, no, I'm fine. Those two pebbles literally took like 1 hit point each off my health and protection. I'm fine, but getting beamed in the head like that was annoying as hell. Anyway, newbie, looks like you're up next.
I will first read the descriptions for all my moves before attempting to use them.
No time to read, noob. Just do a basic.
All right, I guess.
Here goes nothing.
Stealth? That's your basic move? You run and hide. It figures. Whatever. All right, it's my turn. And shameless self-promotion.
And you were complaining about my basic, Hellenix, while your basic is literally just you
saying your catchphrase?
At least I actually did something. All you ever do is talk.
Just talk? Why, I oughta.
Rest easy, comrades. I know all my moves. I actually put in the effort, unlike a certain unnamed Laconian gamer. You see, I play all 5 of my daily squad arena battles. I participate in all my guilds, TWs, and I actually try during my GACs. On my basic, I throw my hammer.
Whoa, cool! Is that real life Mjolnir?
No, young one. This is Maudlin. But yeah, works pretty much the same as Thor's mallet.
Oh, great. Now why didn't that cause any damage?
Get good, losers.
Get good. Jeez, would you two morons just stop throwing tiny little pebbles at my dome?
Well, folks, looks like we've run out of time for this episode of the poorly animated pseudo-cartoon, Helly and the Noob. Tune in next time to see if the lethargic Laconian can muster up an attack other than his basic. Let's face it, folks, saying shameless self-promotion has never really hurt anyone, not even their feelings. Will the noob be able to come up with an idea better than going into stealth? Will the victorious Viking shaman find a way to use his hammer that actually causes some damage? Find out if the salty Spartan has in him what it takes to beat these two rock creatures. I know we're all on the edge of our seat, waiting to find out. Who am I kidding? I'm not. If you want the answer to these questions, and many more, make sure to stay tuned to the Escape Pod cast every Friday night, so you don't miss another episode of Helly and the Noob.
The Escape Pod cast The Bridge.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. We were having a good old chimwag during the break.
Helly and the Noob.
Yes, during Helly and the Noob, we were having a bit of a. But yes, we're going to do some fun stuff now.
So, all right. So we have, and some of these actually are useful in my opinion. Removing the 3 and 4 dot mods from the final mod challenges. Is that possible?
It's not a one person to ask for this one. Lots of people ask for this question. So, I think I don't know. It's something I've talked to the team about as a piece of feedback. I've mentioned it before. I don't know if that's ever going to happen though. I'd have to talk to the PM team and see like is that in the cards, but I don't think so at the moment.
All right. What about removing a stat from a mod and re-rolling it to a stat that wasn't there?
Oh,
so this was in the same vein because they wanted to talk all about mods.
One of my favorite things in like Diablo and playing a little bit of Path of Exile is like you can re-roll stats entirely on a piece, right? There's a whole separate set of currencies that are all about like adding one more stat versus re-rolling all the stats to upgrade it to like one tier higher versus this versus that. I think that's all really cool stuff. It would probably require its own kind of economy to it or whatever. I don't know how else you would say it, but like I think that'd be an interesting idea to follow up on, but I think it'd be a larger undertaking than just a quality of life thing. That's more of a whole new system.
Another one, change the color between ship and mod energy.
Yeah, we've heard this one before.
I got hit by that yesterday. I didn't even
really
think about it. I'm refreshing energy. I'm going, why can't I sim ship mode? Oh,
hey, at
so
least
I have
mods
a
are
lot
important.
of slicing material now.
Yeah, exactly. At least that energy is useful. So,
I mean, has there been any? Has that been sent back before?
I've definitely brought that feedback up of saying that the colors for this are a little close, and especially for someone like I'm not colorblind, but there are people on our team who have color blindness, and I'm sure there's people in the community. We have a big community of people. I'm sure there's a portion of them that are also colorblind. It's a very common thing, and to have colors that close can definitely be an issue for folks in general. So I think as an accessibility thing, it's definitely something I brought forward to the team saying, hey, like maybe there's a way we change this up. Luckily they look different. So if you can't tell the colors apart, you can at least see that they're shaped differently, but also sometimes you're going fast instead you're not paying attention to how the very subtle differences between them. So it's definitely something I've mentioned for sure to the team.
Just make the mod energy black. So that every time Ranger does mod depression, he gets a big old slap of black in the face. It's like, here you go, Ranger, have some black, depressing colored mod energy for your mod depression. You know,
maybe just for Ranger, I'll do that.
Just see if we can get that together. Make it black. Yeah.
Taliana, I don't know. You know of Taliana? She does the collection of the stuff, 50 Shades of Cam. She also collects the GAC numbers. It was funny. I had this one written down. Reducing the number of repetitions for hard mode feats in conquests, especially just use this faction so we can have fun with squads of our own choosing instead of grinding out the same battles over and over? I think you answered that this time around.
Yeah, I think we covered that one already. So yeah, I think so. Definitely, we'll mention that to the team again. But yes, earlier in this podcast,
you did. I just found it funny that I wrote that one down because I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm on this," and then Conquest 7 announcement comes out.
There you go. Yeah, that's what a coincidence there.
The ability to unstart a journey in the journey guide.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I think. I mean, there's not a lot of reasons why you wouldn't want to have at least one tagged to like say what you're working towards, but definitely there's been times where I just like want to swap out and then not have something highlighted. I'm not sure if the juice is worth the squeeze on that one of like how many people actually care about it if it removed and how big of an impact it has, but maybe you can convince me otherwise.
Okay, I do want to convince you otherwise.
Okay.
I was going for Kenobi.
Okay.
Now that the requirements that have been announced for Lord Vader have come out, I'm closer to Vader. Why do I want to keep seeing all that stuff with little icons on it while I'm going for Vader when I need to be focusing on the stuff for Kenobi, and I'm wasting my resources purchasing that gear and purchasing, that has
because you can't be in Journey on Anakin at the moment.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to be starting
right.
Anakin soon.
You can't go to him and say I want to begin the journey on Lord Vader because he's not out yet. Is the key thing, right? That's because always you would. It seems if you had the opportunity to do that, you would just do that, right?
Let's say that somebody. My wife just started an account a month and a half ago, so she's having fun with the journey guide as well. But say that she went for C3PO. She's like, oh, I like C3PO, and hits the start journey guide. So it starts highlighting what to do for that. But now she wants to end up going for Thrawn because her Phoenix are rising quickly.
Right. It's a good first step.
So once she starts Thrawn, C3PO is still going to be highlighted.
No, because when you swap, you only have one target at a time. So if you go to Thrawn and say, I want to begin journey on Thrawn, C-3PO goes away. You don't see those anymore.
Okay. All right. So there you go. I think that's where this had come from, wanting to unstart a journey.
Because I agree. If you started them all and then there's no way to unstart all of them, that would be confusing. But you only have one target at a time. When you switch to the next one, if you switch to Thrawn, the 3PO stuff would all go away and you wouldn't see that anymore.
There you go. That answers your question, Curtis.
There you go. There you go, Curtis. Yeah.
There you go, Curtis. Okay.
What about are we getting anything different for the data disk management screen?
Not at the moment, not with this update, but it's definitely something we'd like to improve in the future. We've had some feedback around that about it's a little bit clunky to use, and I fully agree with that statement, I'll say. So yeah, we'd like to make it a little bit more clear, because like when you unequip stuff, it's a little bit confusing sometimes of like what's actually unequipped. And there's often times I want to like view what these ones are, and like I'll add it to the list, and then I'm like I'll lose my place on the list on the side, so I'll try and add it back to my active ones again, even if I want to go like above the charge count or whatever. But I will get lost. It's not ideal. So yeah, it's definitely feedback we've brought to the team. So that one's a strong possibility in the future.
All right. So that was the feature request that nobody wants except you.
Those are all ones that lots of people want. That was well, that's not true. There's a couple ones that only one person wanted for sure, but those are all great suggestions though.
So there is it's it wasn't this week. It's probably not going to happen in the next 4 days. But there was a hint of a puzzle coming along. So we wanted to pick your brain to try to understand what makes Crumb tick when it comes to these puzzles.
Yes. Okay.
What was your favorite puzzle that you put out?
Ooh. Okay. So I did like the last one a lot. I mean, because there's been a couple of them. You know what I use a lot? I use the SWGOH wiki to go look. They have a puzzle page on that stuff. I can't remember which of you guys maintains that in that channel, in the SWGOH Events channel, but thank you for doing that, because man, I look at that thing all the time and it makes me very happy. So let me just pull that up here and see where was that puzzles here.
While you're looking that up, what came to mind immediately though was your last one. What part of the last one was the most the one that you cackled the most about, and why was it the damn circuit board?
I mean, the circuit board was fun. I don't think that was my favorite part though. I think the thing I enjoyed the most was the manual crossword puzzle, where he had all the old video game manuals and he had to do the lookup codes for those. That was one of my favorite ones
too,
because it's a fun like trip down memory lane for anyone who did that, like when we were younger, and we won't say how old we are, but when we were playing those games, we had to look that up manually. There's like a cool nostalgia of that whole thing of being like, oh, I know exactly what this thing is. And for newer folks, and maybe people who are a little bit younger who've never experienced that, to go like, what the heck are you talking about? This makes no sense at all. But you're like, no, this was a thing for decades in the games industry, that you had to do this to do all sorts of stuff. And it kind of came together in a cool way when I started putting together. It started off with a TIE Fighter manual, because the end of the Piet puzzle had the TIE Fighter in the middle of it, so I wanted to use the TIE Fighter manual. And then I started finding out other manuals that had stuff in it, and so I was like, okay, I've got the Tycoon, Railroad Tycoon stuff in there, and I was like, okay, this all feels like a good theme to it, and I really enjoyed that. I think my buddy at CG who works on this, you've seen him help me on some of those puzzles. He's been on the forums a couple times. He's all about the like larger theming around a puzzle, and I think that's what he brings to the table a lot better than I do, because I think like it was cool, but it's kind of, my stuff is a little bit disjointed in terms of theme. But I think the challenge is what I really enjoy about it, and people still figure it out no matter what. So I also really enjoyed
up with that initial thing though, that thought, oh, I'm going to use manuals.
That was me. I have a bunch of the manuals right next to me, and I was trying to think of things that, well, for this one, I wanted something that people had around the house, right? So like, yeah, you can go look them up online and find these details, but probably a lot of people just literally had them on the shelf behind them in their computer room, right? And so I wanted something that was kind of cool, that everyone had accessible, and that someone could say, hey, check this out. I actually had that manual right here. I could show you in this exactly where it is. Not some PDF online, but physically in front of me. I've got it right here, which I thought that would be pretty cool experience for some people to have when they saw the puzzle and go like, oh, I know what this is now. Cool. I literally can go over to my shelf and get that.
Oh, I have to admit, that and like Dragon's Lair were me growing up on the PC.
Yeah,
just don't do a puzzle that involves having to look at old extended universe books, because mine are all in storage. I just moved house.
Yes,
so I can't just reach behind me to my bookshelf, with some cryptic hint about it's something in the light, hair to the yes. Don't do any book puzzles, okay? Just wait until I've got it all out of storage.
Couple more months. I got you. I hear you.
Couple more months before any type of puzzle like that involving EU books, because that would just like really rev my motor.
So would that be the official answer? Your favorite puzzle was this last one?
It's hard to say. I mean, I think like overall that's probably the most interesting one, because it was the most intricate, and I put a lot of cool things into it that I personally love. I got to talk about biltong, which is something that I enjoy a lot as someone with South African heritage. It was cool to share that with a lot of people, being like, is this a thing really? And being like, yeah, man, I do this all the time in my house. But the game manual stuff is something that I love from my past, but there's a couple like aspects of the other ones that I really enjoyed, that like the Falcon one. Well, I wasn't stoked on the whole trajectory of that one, because I think the reveal of the Falcon was a little too early and people kind of caught on to it from the start. But the word search we had to do for the Falcon at the end, and that was like EVS's idea for the most part to put that together. I can't take credit for that one, but it was cool because there was no way to brute force it with a computer, right? We'd seen like a lot of the past ones, like people would just like use an algorithm to figure the math out of it and then spit out the image or whatever it was at the end. The bounty hunter puzzle, for example, or things like that. Whereas this one, it was like, really the best way to solve this is get 20 people to slam their heads together and just circle them all out and just like work together and do this thing. That's going to be way faster than anything else you could do. And I wanted something that was like, a lot of the times I try and make it so that there's a diverse set of skill sets required for each of these. So it's like not one person can solve it themselves, but they have to rely on asking someone else about like, hey, I don't understand this part of science or this math for this piece of it, or electronics, for example. I need to tap into someone else to try and solve this together, because it's cool just to see like one person just power through it and solve it themselves. I think it's more interesting when they hit a block and go like, I need help. I've got to reach out to someone else.
Like the Puzzle Master crew.
Yeah, the Puzzle Master crew, who's all, again, they're all working together. They all have different skill sets. Everyone can kind of chime in at different moments and say like, oh, wait, I know what that is. I can help out, and I can be of as, and get as many people involved as possible. Because that's the other part. I want everyone to feel like they're involved in the whole puzzle as well, and to really enjoy that like kind of like community aspect of it. Because it is a big community event that people really enjoy kind of working together. And that's honestly why I do these, like doing these, is because I get to see people, work together and collaborate and smack their heads against this thing and waste the brightest minds in the world's hours and hours of their lifetime. So that's been great, making sure they're not solving cancer and like that. Instead, they're solving crumb puzzles. So that's always fun.
So, it was, the bees have left the hive and the handkerchief is blue.
Mm-hmm.
The only reason that they were like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about, I have to admit, it's just always fun when hints are dropped way in advance. And I don't remember, I think this was off the air, so I can't talk about that one. But there was a method of hiding a cipher that you talked about.
Mm-hmm. Was this in the image itself, is what we're talking about?
No, this was in the I'll put it this way. This was in the text of a document that you had talked about.
Yes.
And I that is always the first thing that I go to. I'm like, did he do this finally? But and you did in a way with the hyperlinks.
Yeah.
But is there something in how many puzzles are currently up your sleeve to say?
I'd say there's probably 2 at any given moment. I'd say that I'm trying to like kind of the next one and then farther out. And yeah, I think that's something I want to do more, is to drop those little pieces over time. I think that's a cool thing to then see like a piece of it, but I also don't want to spin people up and be like, oh, here's a puzzle, I can solve it now. Oh, wait, I don't have the full details. This is nothing at the moment. So it's like this like level of subtlety that like you have to almost like retroactively realize it was there the whole time. And that I want to try and hit at some point that I think would be cool. But yeah, I do like the idea of splitting it up over multiple pieces, which is kind of also why we did the QR code, or we dropped it for the which that was the Jedi Knight Skywalker one. Yeah. So like everyone kind of got a piece of it, and they're like, wait, we all got different pieces. The thing, I mean, I should have counted on this, but you guys all just threw all the clues into one channel as fast as possible. And this is just credit to you guys have organized this, and you've made this into a system. And 6.6 specifically is very good at like just grabbing all the data, throwing it in one place, and making it solvable. And so that's something I'm going to try and solve for next time, to make it so it's not so easy for you guys to do that.
A timed release on those pieces, in my opinion. Once one has been solved, the next person surprisingly, oh, hey, look, I just found a candy wrapper on the ground.
Yeah, I think so one of my big inspirations, maybe this will give you some clues into the next one, was there's a game called Frog Fractions, which I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that at all. You've heard of Frog Fractions? Nev is...
No, it's not ringing a bell with me.
Not ringing a bell, but Paul is. Paul's shaking his head.
U.S. education system.
Yeah, yeah. So I think
number munchers.
Yes, exactly. There was a really cool, sort of ARG or whatever you want to call this, puzzle around Frog Fractions 2 that was like going on for multiple years, and he did a lot of crazy things to sort of string this thing along, and ultimately it culminated in, after years and years of work on this thing, that a guy got sent a package with a button, and he just pressed the button, and then nothing happened as far as he could tell. But then lo and behold, a little tiny game on Steam just popped out that was something unrelated to Frog Fractions 2. And turns out Frog Fractions 2 was hidden inside that game if you got in there deep enough. And it was like, that's what has inspired me for a lot of this stuff. Like some of the things that they've done has been real funny. And I'd love to get to that level one day. But it was if you ever want to dive down a deep rabbit hole, go look up, I think it's a site called Game Detectives. Goes through all these ARGs and stuff like that. But look at the Frog Fractions 2 one. It is insane the depths people had to go through to solve that.
Would you ever resort to an ARG?
I mean, like, what does that mean, like, by definition to you?
To me, that means over multiple days.
Multiple days. Oh, yeah. No, heck yeah. I would love to make this thing last for a couple days. I will say it's hard to do so because the number of minds that slam against this thing, it's like, I can make this thing hard, but when there's literally 200 people, if not more, across the internet, maybe even 500,000-600,000 people who are going to smash their head against this thing, it becomes really hard to make it difficult where you're going to solve it. It's solvable, but not impossible. There's like a fine line between, I've made this so obscure that no one will ever get this, and it's solvable if you find these set of clues in this right order. And I think like when you have any clues at all and you can line that up, there's going to be the sheer mind power of that group of people is going to crack that open as pretty quickly. I was impressed just with this last one, how fast it was moving. I said, I bet like an extra 20-30 minutes. So I was like estimating what I thought it would be, or overestimating what I thought, how fast you would go, because I was hoping it would be like 8 hours. But again, I think you guys solved that one last time, and I want to say like 4 hours and 30 minutes, I think was that one.
The last one, yes. But the one before that with the bees leaving the hive, was something missing, or did we just not get it?
You just did not get it. So it was, and that's again like trying to hit that mark where it feels like, oh, of course it was there the whole time in front of me, versus like, this is impossible. I don't know what I'm doing here. This makes no sense to me. There's a like real difficult challenge there. And as someone who's like, I'm not, I like to make puzzles. I like to solve puzzles, but I don't think I'm particularly more adept at it than anyone else if they put their mind to it. It's just the trying to make that balance hit is what I think a real skill set a lot of people have. I think there's some cool puzzles out there now that are existing. That people are still trying to solve. Like there's that structure, the big metal structure outside the CIA. Cryptos.
CIA.
Exactly. That like they've solved maybe 3/4 of that thing, but the last chunk of it's still kind of a mystery to folks. And so that's kind of cool to me as well, that there's still kind of something that can be hacked at over time. But also I don't want to make a puzzle that's going to take multiple years to solve, because at some point this content's got to come out. This character's got to be live. So there's a fundamental thing of push and pull of like, well, I know the thing's going to come out and be announced. I'm going to post the announcement on Friday, for example. And so I want to make sure when I set this live on Wednesday, that by Friday you've solved it at some point. Yeah. So, because it'd feel bad to be like, okay, well, you guys didn't solve it, so here's the answer anyways, right? Like that would not feel good. And
like Malik.
Where I had to come in and say like, you guys are missing this. Here's some hints on this, and then you guys got there eventually. But again, like that was me learning about a lot of like how hard is too hard for this stuff, because sometimes it's too obscure. But I've got some other ideas up my sleeve on how I make this take longer without being harder, if that makes sense. But not, and I don't, one of the things I want to stay away from is artificially gating it like that. Like you were saying, like just wait until someone solves it and then release the next piece later. Because I think while it's fine, I think lots of people do that. And it's probably one day, I'm not saying I'm never going to do that. Maybe that's something I do, but I would love to have more, take the time because of the structure of it itself, as opposed to I artificially just draw it out over the course of 3-4 days. Because I think it's more interesting if you can do it the other way. It's like it's a lot harder, but I think it's way more interesting.
I have to say the most fun I've had was that last puzzle you did release. Of all the puzzles that I've been helping with in the Puzzle Master crew, the last one was the most enjoyable, because there were epiphany moments and there were what the hell moments.
Yeah, and there was a struggle with it. I'm glad to hear that. Cool. Good to hear. Because that's the kind of goal you want. You want the struggle, so it feels rewarding when you do solve it. But you also don't want it to feel like literally I've been smacking my head against this thing for 5 hours and I don't know what I'm doing. Like happened with Malik for a while, where it's just like people are hitting their heads against this thing and they're not seeing fundamentally where it is. The other part of it, though, is that you guys are getting better, right? So the other thing is it has to increase in difficulty over time because you guys are figuring this stuff out faster. Like you guys are getting to my head more. You guys are knowing exactly how I'm thinking about this stuff in a way that you can take it apart. So yeah, I don't know. It's complicated, man. I don't think I have some special secret sauce to this. I just spend a month or two banging my head against it, trying to make it interesting. And sometimes it comes out pretty good. Sometimes it comes out hard. Sometimes I way underestimate how fast people are going to solve it and they knock it out in a couple hours. One of my favorite moments, though, I will say, is the Jedi Knight Revan one, which is kind of like the first big one we really did, where we had the Jedi Revan spelt backwards, but the I and the J, and then I think it was, I can't remember who came in there.
It was Cubs. There is no J. I
think it was Carrie who came in with the Indiana Jones quote of how do you spell Jehovah? I think like those kind of moments are great where you can where people are on the cusp and you can kind of just push them over the edge there. And I think you guys would have got it. Like if you bang your heads against it for another 30, 40 minutes, I think someone would have figured it out and got there. But the thing I really enjoyed about that was that the wrong answers also got you somewhere that was clearly like, hey guys, you tried. This is not the right way. There was a cat that said so close yet so far and things like that. And that's something I haven't done in a while because it's like also spending time on a wrong direction maybe feels bad. And someone gets to the end of it, they kind of feel like, well, why? Was this the right thing? Is there something hidden in this now or whatnot? Like it can be kind of confusing.
We would examine that cat like Noah.
Especially now.
Reverse the image of the cat and turn it sideways. Neil, I don't want to block you out on this one. Do you have any questions for Crumb on the puzzles?
No. Let's let the poor man get off to his.
Okay, so before we let you go, you've been streaming for charity. Do you want to quickly plug your channel?
Thank you so much. Yes. So in October, we'll be doing our yearly Capital Games Extra Life event where we get a bunch of the developers and the engineers all together and we have a great time streaming for charity. This year, I'm doing something a little different, and a lot of people inside CG are doing a little different. We're trying to raise money leading up to the event itself. So I've got a channel, SB Crumb, twitch.tv/SB Crumb. That sounds really weird to say for some reason to me, but it's a channel. You can go check it out. I saw you guys posted in the chat, and thank you guys very much for doing that. I am raising money for Children's Miracle Network. There's a UC Davis Children's Hospital that we've chosen as our charity target, and they are an awesome organization. They have a neonatal intensive care unit that's helping kids out. They make special ambulances and MRIs for kids as well that are customized in all sorts of different ways. I just was found out from our partner there that they have these MRI goggles that they've got for kids now, because sometimes these kids are in MRIs for an hour or two at a time. And it's like, if you've ever been in an MRI, even as an adult, it's not the most comfortable thing. It's surrounding you and all. If you're claustrophobic at all, it's not a great experience. But they've got these goggles, these little VR goggles they can put on and watch movies while they're doing it, because they have to sit super still. So it gives them something to look at. So the team there is doing a lot of great things to help kids get better. And I appreciate you guys that let me promote it. Go check it out there. You can donate on the description. There's a link to the donation page, or go to the Capital Games donation page on Extra Life and choose someone and donate. I don't care, whatever you do. And every dollar helps to try and help these kids. So really said, join me. I'm usually there on Tuesdays and Thursdays from around 6 p.m. Pacific to around 9, hanging out, playing games with all sorts of people, having guests on. I've had Operation Metaverse. Ranger joins me all the time. I saw Nev, you were in there yesterday in the chat hanging out for a bit. So thanks for coming by. We're hanging out, having fun playing games, and I try and play lots of different things. I play probably a different game every single stream. So if you just want to see a variety of different stuff and get exposed to other games, I'm always doing that. And last thing I'll say is my final stretch goal. We've blown away my goals a bunch of times. We've raised over $4,000 so far, and that's just testament to the community. Amazing stuff. This group of people here have always been willing to give. RSG's been leading the charge on that in a lot of ways, and so I'm just very impressed. But I set my goal at 2,000. We blew through that. We're at 4,000 now. We blew through that. So I've set a goal for 8,000, which is how much money we raised last year for the entire studio, which would be kind of crazy to meet. And if I hit that goal, I will stream my GACs, and maybe we'll get you guys on there to commentate it or something.
Oh, yes.
So if we can hit that 8,000 goal, it's kind of a fun thing we can do there. So hopefully you guys can get out there. But yeah, every dollar counts. If you guys can donate, cool. If not, you just want to spread the word and hang out, happy to have you on the channel. Please, though, let folks know that we're trying to raise money for a great cause.
All right. Last two questions. Have you ever met Dave Filoni?
I've never met Dave Filoni. No. Would be cool one day. I'm hoping to cross paths with him one day at the Presidio.
Dickie Darkside has a quality of life that only he wants. He doesn't want to have to recycle back to his roster when he loses an attempt. Can he just have a retry button?
Maybe one day, just for you.
And and our final question that it would be a
has to be asked, right? Yeah.
Where the hell's Hondo?
I told you, I love Hondo. I'd love to have him in the game. You're not going to get any fight back from me on this one, or any pushback from me.
Who do we have to fight, Crumb?
Yeah. That's a good question. I think probably one of the producers who's deciding on who's next coming into the game. So
next time, get us in touch with them. We'll have him on the show, and he can tell me why I don't have Hondo in my game yet. He's been in every series.
Almost, yeah. Hondo's great. I love Hondo. It's so great to see him, and I'd love to get him in the game one day. And I said the fight will continue on. I will always be carrying that banner inside CG of Hondo. Come on, one of these days we'll get there.
Well, we've had you on for over an hour. For those who missed anything in the beginning, we did ask some hardball questions. Check out the replay later today, or it'll be on your local podcast, your podcast choices, on all major podcast platforms. We didn't softball them. Any parting words or clues for the future, Crumb, before we
saw someone say Saul Guerrero better than Hondo, and that is categorically wrong. The Bakov fan. That is not true. I will say that. But yeah, thanks guys for having me on. I really appreciate you guys, and thanks for all you do, and thanks for letting me chat about stuff and talk about puzzles too. I love talking about the puzzles and things like that. So thanks guys again. Appreciate it.
And we'll have you on after the next puzzle to find out what made that puzzle tick, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to come and talk about that.
All right, guys, stick around. Short break on the other side of this. Quick Patreon's choice. Crumb, thank you. You have a great day, my friend. We'll be right back after these messages right here on the Escape Podcast.
The Escape Podcast with Paul Anthony and Neil Andrew Ware. HotBot in HotUtils is one of the most comprehensive tools for Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes.
With integration into the super useful mod tool Grand Ivory, HotUtils can help you tackle some of the most difficult aspects of the game.
Not sure how to mod your roster for a certain game mode?
Use one of the many filters that automatically assigns the right mods to the right character in accordance with your guild needs.
Now with additional features that can assist you and your guild officers in territory battles and territory wars, HotUtils is an amazing value.
And don't forget the useful tools for yourself in Grand Arena, like the in-depth and customizable compare feature.
Got multiple accounts like Neil, but not the time to remod them all?
With this one-stop utility, you can switch between your alts and never miss a mod upgrade or a mod switch before locking into GAC or territory wars.
Starting at just $5 a month, you don't want to miss out on these great tools.
HotUtils is the new official remodding service for the Escape Pod cast.
Visit HotUtils.com to learn more. That's HotUtils.com. And go ahead and spice up your Galaxy of Heroes experience.
Podawans, be sure to support the shows brought to you on the Escape Podcast Twitch and YouTube channel by becoming a Patreon. For as little as $2 a month, you can support us and get a little extra for yourself. With tiered rewards including access to Shitty Bill's Arena tracking bot, after-show access, inclusion in the GA Center leaderboards, behind-the-scenes access, and much more. There is something for everyone on our Discord server. Head on over to Patreon, that is Patreon.com/ youtube.com/The Escape Pod and sign up today. Thank you for supporting and listening to the Escape Podcast.
Hey there, listeners. Merchandise specialist Critty K here. Do you enjoy the Escape Pod and want to support the channel and get something a little extra for yourself as well? Head on over to tpublic.com/user/The Escape Podcast and grab a Team Neil, Team Paul, Critty Play, or many other fun Padawan designs on your choice of shirt, cup, sticker, mask, or even a magnet. And be sure to check out the Mrs. Anthony Shirts channel on the Escape Podcast Discord and get the latest info on the other designs I make as well. Sometimes there's even a sale going on, so it is smart to stop on by. Thank you for supporting the Escape Podcast.
We want you. Join the GAC chain gang today. This is the commander of the 506 Procrastination Battalion and the leader of the GAC chain gang. I am sending out a call to action for any SWGOH content creators on Twitch who would be willing to broadcast their GAC attack rounds alongside some of our best, including Mr. Jigabachi, Dr. Zeppers, Rico 1982, and the Bounty Honeys. What is the chain gang, you ask? We are an amazing group of content creators who are dedicated on streaming the Grand Arena Championship attack rounds on Twitch. The idea is to provide continuous content back to back from one streamer to the next and allow the viewers to enjoy more SWGOH content as well as enjoy the variety of streamers that are currently present in the group. If you are interested in joining the chain gang, please reach out to myself on Discord at AndyBeads, #7465, or you can send us a message on our Twitter page at ChainGAC. Join us today. We have your back.
The Escape Pod cast.
They're saying no sound.
Yeah, no. The sound is on. I didn't hit the sound immediately. That's why.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, the sound is on now. Yeah, so
Okay.
we're back. Oh, crap.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that nobody heard what we were talking about.
Yeah.
Because lots of fun things could be in the works. Thank you, Crumb, for...
Yeah, thanks a lot, Crumb, buddy.
Yeah, the friendliness and all of the...
Sorry about the cut-off there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry about the cutoff, but we'll certainly be in contact.
Oh, yeah.
What you got, Neil?
No, nothing. I'm just getting myself a drink.
Oh, getting another drink.
They're on the shelf in front of me. You know, we're in a cockpit, you know? There's a mini bar in front of me in the cockpit. See?
Oh, that's right. That's right. All right, guys. Let's quickly go through here. Dr. Feelgood, that was a question. Okay. Make a band using your favorite drummer, bass player, guitar player, and singer. What kind of music would they play?
Okay, guitar player Mark Knopfler, drummer Phil Collins, singer Taylor Momsen. Any other band members?
What kind of music would this band play?
Classic rock.
Classic rock. Favorite drummer, Trey Cool from Green Day. Favorite bass player, I'm going to have to go. I can resurrect people for this, right?
Yeah, okay, go on then. You can resurrect.
Okay, Lemmy from Motorhead.
Yeah.
Lemmy from Motorhead for bass player. Guitar player, Mark Tremonti. And singer, I'm going to get hate for it, but I don't care. Screw you if you hate me for it. Chris Daughtry. So, and it would be, adult alternative rock.
Okay.
If Thrawn were to play chess with Hondo, who would win?
Oh, for God's sakes.
Thrawn.
That's a no-brainer. Thrawn would win, hands down. It'd be checkmate in 3 moves.
All right. Jedi volleyball. Mace, Yoda, Ki-Adi-Mundi, and Plo Koon versus Kenobi, Anakin, Ahsoka, and Luminara. No force powers allowed. Who wins?
The team that doesn't have Yoda in it.
No, actually, I actually disagree.
Yeah, because Yoda moving so slow, he's not going to be able to do squat.
Okay, but Ki-Adi-Mundi just needs to stand at the net. His forehead's going to hit the ball back.
Yeah, but I've played volleyball, and you can't. You're a team. You are a team, and if there's one person in the team that can't get to the ball to either put it up or slam it, then the team it's like playing with one person down. So Yoda is slow and he's small. He'll never be able to get to the ball unless it's directly hit at him. So the team with Yoda in loses.
All right, same question, but with Sith. Traya, Scion, Nihilus, and Dooku versus Darth Revan, Malak, Bastila, and Vader. No force powers allowed.
I'd go with the second team because it's got a younger team to it. You've got Scion, who's practically dead. You've got Traya, who's pretty much an old woman, and then you've got Dooku, and he's an old guy. And they all need the Force to help them move. With no Force, they're just dying. Basically, they're just keeled over.
All right, so now I agree on this one. Now, what about Kenobi? What about your team that won the Jedi versus the Sith? So you have Kenobi, Anakin, Ahsoka, Luminara versus Darth Revan, Malak, Bastila, and Vader. Who wins, Jedi or Sith?
I go with Jedi because it's a younger team, and if there's no Force power involved, it's youth and vitality. It's physical attributes and abilities, and Vader's not going to be able to see very well with that helmet on, so yeah, he's it's kind of like sure, he'd be strong and powerful, but he's got no peripheral vision. His peripheral vision, he's only got peripheral vision through the Force. Take away the Force, he's got no peripheral vision.
All right, for mine, I still say Cam wins because of #Cam's forehead. All right. I have not seen the show Leverage. Have you?
No.
Okay.
I've seen trailers for it, but I've never watched it.
Here's the prompt from Geek Girl. You have to create a crew to do a heist with the following roles: mastermind, hacker, muscle, thief, con man, and then the mark.
Okay, so I have to remember all of that and then assign a character to it. I mean,
so
just give me one at a time, and I'll give you a character.
Okay, but you can't use the same fandom. You have to go with a different fandom each time.
A different IP?
Yeah, different IP.
Okay. Go on then. So give me them one at a time. So
who's your mastermind?
Mastermind would be Megamind.
Okay, I'm gonna go right out the gate and go with the mastermind. I'm gonna go with Thrawn. I've already taken Star Wars off the table for me.
Okay.
All right. Who is the hacker?
The hacker would be Zero Cool from.
Okay, so
the hacker would be Zero Cool from the movie Hackers.
I'm gonna go with Serial Killer, played by Matthew Lillard.
Oh, you're gonna go with Serial Killer? Okay.
Yeah. So we went the same IP there. Who's the muscle?
I will go with Mr. T from the A-Team as the muscle.
I'm going with Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. So MCU is off the table for me. Who is the con man or woman?
The con man or the woman? That's an interesting one. Man or woman?
So for me, I'm going Samuel Beckett from Quantum Leap.
As the con man?
As the con man, because he knows how to be somebody else.
Oh yeah, no, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose so. In that case, I'll go with Daniel Craig from Layer Cake.
I have not seen that.
It's a good movie, and he's like it's a good
All right.
Anybody that's watched that movie would agree with that.
And who's the mark?
The mark would be.
I'm gonna go. I'm going to get the actual mark. Who's the bad guy from the original Ocean's 11?
It's not Andy Garcia. It's not. Is it Andy Garcia? Is it Andy Garcia?
I'm
yeah.
I'm looking it up.
JJ Manager's confirmed it. Yeah, it's Andy Garcia.
Yeah.
See, I would make the mark. I would make the mark Christopher Walken from what's that bloody
Suicide Kings?
No, not from Suicide Kings, from True Crime.
Okay, I was gonna say you could also take Christopher Walken as Max Zorin, and I would have accepted that as well.
Yeah, no, he was more evil in True Crimes.
All right, I know that you know of stuff like this, Neil.
Yeah.
If you could do a Marvel What If, and what was it called for the Star Wars universe?
Star Wars Infinites.
Okay, so if you could do any Star Wars Infinite, because it already exists, what would be your Star Wars Infinite?
Oh, my Star Wars Infinite would be. Oh God, that is a good one. Oh, my Star Wars Infinite would be. What if Mara Jade didn't wake up Luke Skywalker from the Timothy Zahn duology, Spectre of the Past?
Okay.
Because he puts himself into forced. Spoiler alert for a book that's 20 years old. In the book, Luke goes into a forced hibernation. The trigger of which can only wake him up is a kiss from Mara Jade.
All right. My Star Wars Infinite scenario would probably be, what if Leia told them the location of the Rebel base?
See, I wasn't going for an Infinite from within the trilogy, because Infinites have already been done within the trilogy.
Yeah, but I went a different route on what has been done.
Yeah, Geek Girl knows what my what if for the MCU I want is. I want the only what if from the Marvel UK universe to be done in the TV show, because it's the
Death's
only.
Head 2.
That's what if Death's Head never died.
Okay. If you could swap 2 lead singers for 2 different bands, who would it be?
What? As in switch them around with their bands?
I would swap Eddie Vedder and Scott Weiland. We would have the exact same music.
Oh, do you know what I would love? I would swap Damon Albarn with Liam Gallagher. I would swap the lead singer of Blur with the lead singer of Oasis and see what happened.
Okay, there you go. Who is the strongest Force user ever?
Who is the strongest Force user ever?
JJ Manners asks, who is the strongest Force user ever?
I mean, there's a couple people that are really, really close. Nomi Sunrider was probably one of the big ones, but that's just because she had the whole Jedi battle meditation thing going on. So
what about Nihilus? Am I wrong by saying Nihilus? Devouring entire worlds.
It's no. It's a perfectly legitimate opinion. I mean, that's from the dark side. I was thinking of it from the light side. You were thinking of it from the dark side. But I would probably go with I mean, if it was me, I would go with Nomi Sunrider. Simply because of if you've read her stories, like she literally controls with battle meditation a victory of a war over an entire planet. That's pretty badass, if you ask me.
And last question here before we wrap it up. What was or is your favorite piece of Star Wars clothing that you own?
My favorite piece of Star Wars clothing that I own it's one of my t-shirts. It's the Princess Leia one, where you just see her with a gun up, hand on her hip, and in the words across it just say, "I love you." That's my favorite Star Wars T-shirt. Is the Princess Leia one that just says "I love
Mr.
you."
Bojangles dropping 5 subs as we are closing out. Thank you, Mr. Bojangles.
Thanks for the subs, buddy.
And for anybody that that now has a sub, you are invited to the after show, which we do after the show.
Any more questions?
So for me, my favorite piece of Star Wars clothing has to be my Rainbow Pride Darth Vader helmet that I have. Have to go with my Pride Vader helmet.
Okay.
So, all right. That being said, Neil, what you got coming up on the channel? Are you going to be able to get some GAC in?
Yeah, I've got GAC tomorrow. I'll definitely get some GAC in tomorrow morning. Just got some light weeding to do tomorrow in the back garden. But no, I will be free. I will be up first thing tomorrow morning. I will do my GAC. Tough opponent. Somebody that doesn't compete very often, but has the good graces to at least set a defense. So there's someone that doesn't play, but they're not a total, bell ringer. They actually set a defense. They don't just let it auto. So yeah, I've got a good challenge. Someone who is probably going to be DNS, but they've set me a really nice tough defense. So it's going to be a challenge to keep the streak going, and that will be number 35, I do believe. If I win tomorrow, that'll be 35 on the trot.
There we go. All right. Well, for me, Sunday, on Vault 37 Studios, Christy and I continue our Lego marathon. We're finally past, Neil. We're finally past all of the games that do not have split screen. So now we're finally able to do our own thing. Mm-hmm. We're on to Indiana Jones. We have 8 more games until the games start talking. So we, still have the pantomime mute Lego games, but it's still a lot of fun as we continue to 100% every single Lego game, trying to beat them all before Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga comes out spring 2022, which we just saw the trailer of. And you can read my review of the trailer on goingnerdy.com, along with an article you wrote, Neil.
Yeah, I threw something up there recently. I'll do another article. I'll try and do something. I'm going to try and do something once a week. I do actually have something to write about this weekend, because there's some rumors floating around regarding Star Wars, and I think I should give my tuppence on it. With the rumors that Kathleen Kennedy's contract is to be renewed. So I'll definitely have something to say about that, and I'll write about it and post it there.
Yeah, so check out goingnerdy.com for articles from Thaddeus, Neil, and I. And also, we would love to have you guys as Patreons or Twitch subs. It does help support the channel and helps us more than you guys can even imagine. So thank you to those that do support the channel. It means one hell of a lot. That being said, be nice to each other, damn it. And Neil,
yes,
push the button.
You got it, mate. Ta-ta for now, folks.
What's going on? Where the hell are we? Paris?
Thank you for pressing the self-destruct button.
Attention! This is Colonel Sanders in forward command. Abandon ship! Abandon ship! All personnel proceed to escape pods. Close down the circuits. Evacuate the city. Self-destruct mechanism has been activated. Abandon ship! Where is it? Where is it? It's gonna be here. Out of order! Even in the future, nothing works.
This ship will self-destruct in exactly 10 seconds. Counting down. 10, 9, 8, 6.
What happened to 7?
Just kidding. 3, 2, 1. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. The Escape Podcast was filmed in front of a live studio audience full of tweaked out murder bears.
Sit, Boo Boo, sit. Good dog.